reckon there's one thing in this world can make you free. Money.
Honesty, sincerity and dignity, strong Christian values. That's why you voted Gits, and that's what Gits intends to give you back.
We're gonna rob Moby's. Me and Ronald.
I'm not gonna rob Moby's, Moody.
It's not just a plan, it's our destiny.
Welcome Lewis MacDougall and Morgan Bushe to the Film Ireland podcast. So I just have a few questions and I'll get right to it because I know you guys have a busy schedule lined up and the premiere this evening, which is very exciting.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Well, excellent film. I got the chance to see it there yesterday and loved it. Amazing performance. I have to say this, but you're quite young and you've done a lot. And you've really kind of got to the crux of some very emotional roles. How did you guys end up working together?
Well, I mean, from what I can remember, I got asked to do an audition for it, and that was my first look at the script or anything, and immediately it really caught my eye. I think I was really intrigued by the character Joey, and then I got to Skype with Morgan, and I think we just really clicked, and we really I just really wanted to work with him, to be honest. And as soon as I read the script, I was just really, like I said, captivated by the character Joey and what he was going through, and I just really wanted the chance to play him, and so I'm very fortunate that Morgan chose me.
How was the casting process?
The casting process was, Louise Kiley was the casting director, and she's fantastic. So we had written the script very much with Pat Short in mind for the Ronald Tanner role, and Peter Coonan for Rooster, and Lauren for Sinead, and the Joey character was so crucial to the story that we'd kind of done the rounds, and I knew at the time I thought it was going to be a first timer, so we did a big kind of casting call. I think we would have looked at about 600 kids, and there was a lot of great kids out there, but they just didn't have what I was looking for, and like Lewis said, Louise would have put the call out internationally, so we initially Lewis sent in a self-tape, and I thought he was from Northern Ireland, but the minute I saw it, I knew he had what we were looking for. He had that spark and that quality. So straight away I knew he was our one, and then we did a couple of more. He read the script, and then we had some more chats about it, and so that's all how it come together. And I hadn't realised that he'd done a Monsters Call with Liam Neeson and Pan and stuff. So what was great then about Lewis, because at the time he was just 14, was that he came to set very much with a professionalism and an acting discipline, which was really incredible to behold. He's such a talent.
And did you rewrite his role as Scottish then, or did you try accents or anything like that, or were you just like, nope?
Lewis had asked. Lewis was wondering if he should do an accent, but I think with the story kind of set in this border town and being quite transient, and obviously the Irish-Scottish connection there, that we felt it worked for the story anyway, and that if he was going to put on an accent, it might just kind of distract him.
Oh no, it worked really well. How did you find it?
Yeah, well, you mean the accent, really? Or not a rather lack of accent. No. Yep. Well, no, I think it's, I'm thankful that Morgan decided to change the script to suit me, I suppose, and I think it's always good to have a sort of diversity of different accents, different, people from different places in a film, so, I was really thankful for that, and, as far as the entire experience was concerned, like Morgan said, I tried my best to be professional, and I think it was really good in the set, because obviously we had a lot of, Pat Short, Michael Smiley, they're also comedians as well, so they provided quite a fun, bubbly atmosphere, but we were also able to be serious when we needed to be. So I think it was a really good balance that we found, and as well as just, I got on really well with all the crew and everyone, so I was thankful that I got on with them and had a really good time filming it.
Excellent, and you had a great chemistry with Pat as well. Mm-hmm. There was a lovely kind of on-screen warmth between you guys, so I presume you bonded?
Yeah, we definitely did. We had a couple of days rehearsal before it was, I rehearsed with Lauren who played Sinead, and I had the day with, it was just me, Morgan and Pat, really just going through the script and reading and getting to know it better and getting to know how the other was going to play the character, and I found that really beneficial. It's always good to have a little bit of rehearsal, I think, and over that time I got to know Pat really well, and between scenes and everything, it was good to chat with him, and I really enjoyed working with him. Yeah.
And I was going to say, you co-wrote it, you co-produced it as well. Was it hard taking off the hats and putting on different hats when you're directing it?
Well, I think a lot of my heroes in terms of directors will also produce their own stuff, and I think it was a real benefit to have that, because a lot of directing is compromise, and if you know the inside out of what you have available, I mean, it can be quite liberating in terms of coming up with solutions. I mean, I had other, Catherine Kennedy and Rory Dungan also produced.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a lot of support there, and really, my producing hat would have been taken off when we started shooting, because otherwise it is too much, But I just having that experience of producing allowed me to know how to keep pushing things to get it made, because getting a film made is you really have to have tunnel vision to get it off the ground, and knowing the ways to do that is a big help. And then, like you said, Greg Flanagan, he would have co-wrote the script with me as well. So. And
where did the idea come from?
The idea came from, I mean, it would have been at the kind of tail end of the Troker program, and the fallout and the banking crisis and stuff, and everyone seemed to kind of be in a tailspin, and we wanted to kind of tell a kind of parable of that within a kind of small Irish town context. So what we did is that we hired a camper van, myself and Greg, and an old film school buddy of mine, Mark Kildare, and we just went out and hit the road just to try and kind of immerse ourselves in that world and discover the characters and what was going on. It's kind of, I mean, the story happens very much on the kind of periphery of Irish society, so we really kind of had to, live within there to give it an authenticity, even though it's not necessarily. We did want to give it a kind of a heightened sense as well.
And I suppose you have the antagonist as a politician, which is very timely, and there's a lot of, issues around kind of homelessness and poverty that are very much so on point now as well, with the current conversations and mental health. So it does have that kind of nice cyclical feeling of it really has a place to land, and it sits in well with the time. Was it tough telling yourself, oh, I can't afford that? Like, I suppose it was probably a soft blow that the ins and outs of the production so well. So as a director, like you were saying that about the compromises. Yeah,
no, absolutely about the compromise. I mean, just in regards to your first statement, I think that it's mad because, you write something and then it takes another year to get finance and then another year to edit it. And then you worry, once it comes out, is have we missed the boat essentially? But I mean, it seems more timely than ever in terms of kind of exploring that world and those characters and a sense of like what's the tipping point and when is enough because like you said with Gits and with the politicians, I mean I don't want this to be essentially an issues or a movie, because I feel like you need to entertain an audience as well, but I mean
fun,
it's definitely underlined there, and it seeps into the material. But in regards to your second question, and it is, but that's the reality of filmmaking. I mean, I think you have to be aware of that getting into it, otherwise it'll break your heart.
Yeah. And as a producer as well, do you find it, I presume you would have been very much so along the lines of a creative producer with a lot of your projects?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, a producer in itself wears a lot of hats because, you have to raise the money and you have to organize a crew and, you have to work with the director. But yeah,
deal with all the problems that come up.
Very much so, yeah. You're pretty much a moving target.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would have been kind of hands on with all the directors and the writers I would have worked with in the past.
And was it in kind of, did you get that nice creative satisfaction of going like this? I authored this project, really.
Yeah, I mean it's a different discipline than producing, because it's obviously the producer will know the roadmap, but then it's up to the director to get you in between, and having that idea of what you're doing, and it's two very different disciplines, I think, but it's great if you can have a handle on both.
And how many projects would you have just say, like, obviously you're so experienced, you have such a great track record, have you been kind of working on creating, and then how many actually get to fruition, really? with regards rough numbers, just because we know we have a lot of filmmaker listeners.
No, sure. I mean,
yeah.
I think the number is, it's one film for every 7 developed. Wow. Yeah, which is quite high, or quite low, I should say. Yeah, you have to. I mean, certainly as a producer, you need to be juggling a few balls because you don't know what's going to hit or what's not. But I think again with directing, you kind of have to put that aside and again, just have that tunnel vision, because if you don't have that tunnel vision, it's not going to happen essentially.
Of course. And what has the audience response been? How have you found the both?
I mean, because we had it at the Galway Film Flat, and there, I think people really enjoyed it. I mean, right after it, I was getting people coming up to me saying how much they enjoyed it. So it's really nice when you get that sort of immediate reaction right afterwards. And as far as I've been seeing on Twitter and stuff like that, people have been responding quite well to it. So I'm really, really happy about that.
And is it nerve-wracking watching it with an audience in tow?
Yeah, although I think that's what I enjoy the most. I mean, you can watch it yourself and that's good, but when you get to watch it and you're not actually 100% watching the movie, you're kind of looking at other people, seeing how people are reacting to different moments of it, and so it's really nice to see when people react well to it.
And was there anything that surprised you, like a laugh, and you're like, I wasn't expecting that, or?
Well, I can't remember anything in particular that surprised me, I suppose, but there are a couple laughs in this film. There are a few. I mean, it's a kind of darkly humorous film, and so I think it's nice that you can have sort of momentary breaks from the very serious atmosphere of the film. So yeah, I suppose there are a couple of laughs, and it's nice to have them.
Yeah. And what about yourself? Pleased with the audience reaction?
Yeah, I mean, we had a terrific screen in Rome, and I've learned all the Italian swear words from the subtitles. And then it played great in Chicago. It was very warmly received, and it was terrific in Cork. And like Lewis said, opening the Fla came with its own pressures. But I mean, it's this is what we're in it for. So it's been great to kind of see a national and an international perspective of it.
I suppose there is that kind of, it's a very local story in a sense, but I mean, it does seem to translate well, and it has a lot of universal themes. So the premiere is this evening. When is the release dates? So
the release is Friday, and it's in Cinema Killarney, Omniplex Cork, Omniplex Limerick, Omniplex Rathmines, Mayo Movie World, and the Eye in Galway. So it's nice that it's got a nationwide stretch. Perfect.
Are you going to any of them? Are you going to do any Q&As?
I'll be doing the Q&A tonight. No, I mean, I love watching with an audience. It's great. It's my favourite part of it.